So I'm on my flight from Orlando to Toronto for my work next week, and I got lucky and I don't have anyone sitting next to me on this very full flight, so that's pretty awesome. And I am going to give you a little bit of information about the Toronto airport when I get there. So this is the Toronto Pearson, it's YYZ airport, and one of the things I find most nerve-wracking about going to new places, especially where you don't speak the language, is trying to find your way out of the airport and to your hotel or your Airbnb or your hostel, wherever you're staying. Now, Toronto should be pretty easy since it's English speaking and I've been there before, but I'll go ahead and record it anyway so that you can see what I will plan to do in other airports. We'll see you when we touch down. And now we get to the fun part. Okay, so that was just about the easiest experience I've ever had coming through a customs line. I handed the gentleman my paperwork and he didn't ask me a single question. He just said, go ahead. So made it to Toronto, and now I just need to find my way, get an Uber and find my way to my hotel. Turns out you cannot order a regular Uber X or Uber Pool from the Toronto airport. I heard mixed information regarding the reason, that there just may not have been any available. The app did offer me Uber Premium and other more expensive options, but the other explanation, which is that Uber has been restricted from offering Uber X and pool rides from the airport, seems to make more sense to me. Getting Uber rides to the airport is still not an issue, but you'll have to use a different transportation option for leaving the airport. So here's what you have to choose from. If you're flying from outside Canada, you'll end up in the international terminal, and you can exit through door C for limos and door D for taxis. There's signs everywhere that explain this. If you've prearranged your pickup, there are signs to get you over to where your prearranged pickup will get you. Before you get too concerned about the term limo, though, it simply means a black car, and it's just a bit more expensive and cleaner than a regular taxi. One thing to watch out for when you're landing internationally is that people may ask you if you need a ride. I did have a man walk by me on my way out saying, looking for a ride? The taxi lines are really long. Just ignore these people. You can find information if you Google online about how they are not regulated. They're actually illegal, and they'll try to rip you off. And I think you really only find them on the international side because locals just know not to take them. He was also actually lying to me because the line was not very long at all, and both the taxi and limo lines move really fast because there's a line of cars waiting to pick people up. As you can see, the lines are almost right next to each other, and they work the same way. They all take credit cards. However, I would recommend verifying with your driver, especially if you take a taxi, before you get in, because I've seen them claim that their credit card readers don't work so that they can try to get cash from you. If their credit card reader really isn't working, which I have had happen to me in another city, they have to take you to an ATM. So make sure you tell them to turn off the meter if they have to do that, because you shouldn't have to pay for their credit card machines not working. The pricing is fixed for both taxis and limos in Toronto. They have a sign on the pole outside of each of the lines so you can see the prices. The pricing is in a typical zone format, so you'll need to know what area of the city you're going to in order to understand the exact price you're going to pay. But if you are going into the downtown part of Toronto, it's going to be about 40 to 65 Canadian dollars for a taxi and 45 to 70 for a limo. And that's without the tip. I've included a link to the current pricing in the description so that you can take a closer look if you want to find the zone you're going to be staying in. It can be higher or lower than I've just mentioned, especially if you're not going right downtown. I took a limo, and I was staying in one of the more expensive downtown zones. It was about $70 Canadian for the ride. That included the tip, though. So it was, I think, 62 or something like that without. The car was clean. I had no issues. I did have some locals tell me they typically take limos because they are cleaner and just a little bit more expensive. The driver also did give me a business card and let me know that you can call to have a limo pick you up anytime if you want to get around town or get back to the airport. However, catching cabs and Ubers in Toronto was extremely simple. There was always cabs around, and we were able to just order Ubers, and they just took a couple minutes to arrive. So you should not have any trouble getting around once you're downtown. The cab drivers can be a bit testy about wanting to use a credit card. So again, ask before you get in and just choose a different one if they refuse you. Toronto's a wonderful city. I had an excellent time, though I would definitely recommend checking it out in the summertime if you can. And now that you know how to get around, you can focus on all the fun parts of your trip. So safe and happy travels.